Okay, in this section we're going to talk about how can we prevent cancer possibly, and some ways we can treat cancer once it's been developed. So the first thing has to do with weight. One thing we can do as far as trying to prevent various forms of cancer is to watch our weight. This has been documented in a variety of things. The earlier the weight's put on, the greater the risk of cancer. Okay, and this applies especially with uterine cancer, but not being overweight decreases the risk of just about everything. Okay, so breast and colon and esophagus, all these different types of cancer, your risk is much, much higher if you are overweight of developing these forms of cancer, so that's pretty straightforward. Second thing is, oh my goodness, we should eat a healthy diet. No surprise here that a healthy diet, including a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, dark colored greens, beans and nuts, whole grains, basically just eating a wide variety of different foods is much better than eating a lot of processed foods. So we want to stay away from processed meats and red meats, which are things like bologna and sausages and things that have been processed in a factory because those have had additives put into them, and it's largely linked to colon cancer among other types. So eating a wide variety of foods is a good second preventative measure. Third thing, oh my goodness, this is all shocking to me. All right, so we should be not overweight, and we should be eating healthy, and we should be exercising regularly. So the idea here is to exercise at least 3 or more times a week. Moderate to vigorous activity, basically what that means is it raises your your blood pressure and your pulse to 70% of a resting maximum. The idea is you're increasing your cardiovascular activity, and all of this decreases the risk of most cancers, including the 2 biggest, breast and prostate. I don't know how it affects lung cancer too much, but those are some of the biggest ones. Okay. Let's say treatment doesn't work. All right, first option, if prevention didn't work, or at some point someone is diagnosed with cancer, what can we do about it? The first is treatment. Treatment is always usually started with surgery. This is the first option if it is an option, because the best thing is we actually take away the mutated cells. This makes sense. If we can take away the problem, then we assure ourselves of a full recovery. But sometimes it's inoperable, which means it's in a place that we can't get to very easily, or if we do, it may end up causing more problems than just leaving it there and going a different route. So the problems, besides being maybe inoperable and we can't do surgery, is it has to be detectable. So in many cases, if it's an internal tumor, by the time it's detectable, it's huge. And so many times surgery is no longer an option just because of where it's located. And it does take a while to be able to detect them, and by that point it may have already metastasized. So surgery, if it is an option, it's the best one, just because it takes care of the problem permanently. A second thing that is in our arsenal is radiation. Radiation uses high levels of energy to basically shrink or kill malignant tumors, but basically all you're doing is slowing the growth. Radiation by itself is not going to completely get rid of tumors. It can shrink it to the point that other things work, though. The problem is it usually doesn't kill the cancer cells right away. Radiation disrupts DNA. So by disrupting the DNA, it makes it unable to go through cell division properly, and therefore it kind of stops off the cycle. The downside with radiation is it can also cause mutations in healthy cells. The idea, though, is if you're facing a no-win situation with cancer, you would much rather take your chances making new mutations than not letting the bad ones get away with it. So radiation is a proven way of killing cancer cells, but at the same rate, chances are you're also making some other cells mutated. So that's not a perfect situation either. Third situation, if radiation hasn't really worked, or it's been used to shrink the tumors and surgery was maybe not an option, many times they will use chemotherapy. Notice it's not with a K, it's CH, chemo, like as in chemicals. Okay, so chemotherapy is using toxic chemicals to kill actively dividing cells, and this is killing both healthy and bad. So part of this is useful because it does kill cancer cells, but at the same time it's killing healthy cells that are currently dividing. So there's many side effects, including many people's hair falls out because your hair divides very fast. Your stomach lining is very irritated because it's dividing very quickly. And so there's a lot of nausea issues, very sensitive to sunlight because your skin is dividing quickly. So in all chemotherapy cases, part of your body is being attacked even though it's healthy. And so the drugs that we currently have for chemotherapy are not great just because they do kill healthy, perfect cells at about the same, well, they kill cancer cells a little bit faster, and that's why we're using them, but we don't really know why. When we use the term cured, cured means a cancer has been in remission for more than 5 years. Cured does not mean it's gone. A lot of people think that when we say cured of cancer, it's totally gone, it's gone forever. It just means it's been in remission, which means it's no longer dividing. And we don't really know what causes that. Some people argue that it's been attacked so much that it kind of goes into hibernation, but you'd never know when it will reawaken. So there's always this underlying fear that it will come back. All right, so you've got a couple questions to answer based on that section, and then you're good. All right, hopefully that was informative. You will have a test next time, so make sure that you're preparing for that as best as you can.